The 10 Best Writers of All Time. Today we will dive into the fascinating world of literature to discover the 10 best writers of all time. From the printed page to eternity, these geniuses have captivated millions of readers with their words, stories, and wit. Join us as we explore the richness of his literary legacy, from ancient times to the modern age. Number 10. Fyodor Dostoyevsky. Fyodor Dostoyevsky was a renowned 19th-century Russian writer, considered one of the most important in world literature. He was born on November 11, 1821 in Moscow and died on February 9, 1881 in St. Petersburg. Dostoyevsky is known for his deep and psychologically penetrating writing style, as well as his exploration of the darker aspects of human nature. His works reflect the tensions and contradictions of Russian society of his time, addressing themes such as morality, religion, individual and collective psychology, crime and punishment, and social alienation. Among his most outstanding works is Crime and Punishment, 1866, considered one of the great novels of universal literature. In this work, Dostoyevsky tells the story of Rodion Raskolnikov, a student tormented by his own conscience after committing a murder. Another of his iconic works is The Brothers Karamazov, 1880, an extensive novel that explores the complexities of family relationships and morality. Through vivid characters and ethical conflicts, Dostoyevsky raises fundamental philosophical questions about free will, faith, and the existence of God. Dostoyevsky also addressed political and social issues in novels such as Memoirs from Underground, 1864, and The Demons, 1872. His writing, often provocative and controversial, defies literary convention and presents a grim yet penetrating view of the human condition. Number 9. Virginia Woolf. Virginia Woolf was a prominent British writer of the 20th century, renowned for her innovative style and her exploration of consciousness and the psychology of her characters. She was born on January 25, 1882 in London and came from an intellectual and artistic family. Woolf was a central figure in literary modernism and was part of the group of writers and artists known as the Bloomsbury Circle. Her work spanned various genres, including novels, essays, short stories, and literary criticism. Among her most famous works are Mrs. Dalloway, published in 1925, which follows a day in the life of Clarissa Dalloway as she reflects on her life and her role in society, To the Lighthouse, 1927, a novel that examines the complexities of human relationships and the passage of time, and The Waves, 1931, an experimental work in which she uses avant-garde narrative techniques to explore the nature of human identity and experience. In addition to her literary talents, Woolf was a leading voice in the feminist movement, advocating for gender equality and women's rights. Her feminist essays, such as A Room of One's Own, 1929, remain influential and continue to be studied today. Number 8. Jorge Luis Borges. Jorge Luis Borges was an Argentine writer considered one of the most influential of the 20th century. He was born in Buenos Aires into a family of Spanish and English descent. Throughout his life, Borges cultivated a wide variety of literary genres, including short stories, essays, poetry, and literary criticism, leaving a lasting mark on world literature. Borges is known for his unique writing style and his exploration of themes such as identity, reality, time, and the nature of literature itself. His work is characterized by his deep intellect and his fascination with mazes, mirrors, and libraries. He often mixed elements of the fantastic and the philosophical, creating complex and metaphysical narratives. One of the highlights of Borges's work is his ability to play with the notion of reality and question literary conventions. His short stories, collected in works such as Fictions and El Aleph, explore concepts such as infinity, dreams, and alternative realities. His literary essays, on the other hand, address topics such as the interpretation of literature and the relationship between the writer and the reader. Borges received numerous awards throughout his life, including the prestigious Cervantes Prize in 1979. His influence extends far beyond Argentine literature, reaching writers around the world. His innovative approach and unique literary style have earned him a prominent place in the universal literary canon. Despite his progressive blindness, Borges continued to write and actively participate in intellectual life until the end of his days. Number 7. Emily Dickinson. Emily Dickinson was a noted American poet who lived in the 19th century. Born December 10, 1830 in Amherst, Massachusetts, she spent most of her life in her family home and rarely left. Although she lived a relatively reclusive life, Dickinson left behind a significant literary legacy and became one of the most influential figures in American poetry. Dickinson began writing poetry from an early age, and throughout her lifetime she produced nearly 1,800 poems, though only a few of hers were published during her lifetime. Her poems were known for her distinctive style, in which she used irregular meter, unusual rhyme, and conciseness to explore themes such as nature, death, love, and the human experience. Although her poems were often short and seemingly simple, Dickinson was a profound writer, and her work revealed emotional complexity and intellectual insight. Recurring themes of hers included loneliness, loss, transcendence, and the search for spiritual truth. Her unique poetic style, marked by the use of bold metaphors and experimentation with form, set her apart from her contemporaries. After Emily Dickinson's death in 1886, her sister discovered the many poems she had left and worked to have them published. As her poems became known to the public, her reputation as one of the great poets of American literature began to grow. Number 6. Gabriel Garcia Marquez. Gabriel Garcia Marquez, born on March 6, 1927 in Aracataca, Colombia, and died on April 17, 2014 in Mexico City, was a prominent writer and journalist known for his unique style and his contribution to Latin American literature. Garcia Marquez is considered one of the most important exponents of magical realism, a literary genre that combines the fantastic with realistic elements in his stories. His masterpiece and perhaps his best-known novel is 100 Years of Solitude, published in 1967, which earned him worldwide recognition and the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1982. Born into a culturally rich family environment, Garcia Marquez was interested in literature and journalism from an early age. He worked as a reporter and correspondent in several countries, where he acquired experiences and knowledge that he later reflected in his writing. His narrative style was captivating and poetic, and his stories explored themes such as love, loneliness, politics, and Latin American history. In addition to 100 Years of Solitude, Garcia Marquez wrote other outstanding works such as Love in the Times of Cholera, Chronicle of a Death Foretold, and The Autumn of the Patriarch. His literary legacy has left an indelible mark on contemporary literature and has influenced numerous writers around the world. Gabriel Garcia Marquez is recognized not only for his ability to tell stories, but also for his political and social commitment. Number 5. William Faulkner. William Faulkner was a renowned American writer, born on September 25, 1897 in New Albany, Mississippi, and died on July 6, 1962 in Byhalia, Mississippi. He is considered one of the most important and influential writers of the 20th century. Faulkner was noted for his innovative writing style and his insightful exploration of topics such as the decadence of the American South, racism, morality, and the complexity of the human condition. His work captures the essence of life in the American South, with its social and racial conflicts, and the transformation of a society rooted in the past. One of the hallmarks of Faulkner's writing is his use of internal monologue and fragmented narration, allowing for a multifaceted and subjective portrayal of characters and events. His novels often explore different points of view and employ a nonlinear time structure, challenging the reader to piece together the story as a whole. Among Faulkner's most notable works are The Sound and the Fury, 1929, a novel examining the disintegration of the Compson family, While I'm Dying, 1930, which narrates a family's journey to bury their mother, and Absalom, 1936, a complex story about life in the South before, during, and after the American Civil War. Faulkner received numerous awards and recognitions throughout his career, including the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1949. His influence on contemporary literature is undeniable, and many subsequent writers have been inspired by his style and subject matter. Number 4. Leo Tolstoy. Leo Tolstoy was a renowned 19th-century Russian writer, considered one of the great masters of world literature. Born on September 9, 1828 in Yasnaya Polyana, Russia, Tolstoy came from a noble family and received a privileged upbringing. He is primarily known for his epic and realistic novels, which deeply explore the human condition and address themes such as love, war, morality, and the search for meaning in life. His most famous work is War and Peace, an extensive and detailed historical narrative that portrays the lives of various characters during the Napoleonic invasion of Russia. This novel is widely considered a masterpiece of literature and has influenced generations of writers. Another of his notable works is Anna Karenina, a novel that examines the complexities of human relationships, morality, and the conflict between individual desires and social norms. Tolstoy employed a detailed and painstaking literary style, creating vivid and deeply realistic characters. Throughout his life, Tolstoy embarked on a spiritual and philosophical quest that led him to question established institutions, including the Russian Orthodox Church and the social structure of his day. His ideas, centered on pacifism, nonviolence, and the rejection of private property, had a significant impact on later movements, such as anarchism and the nonviolent thought of Mahatma Gandhi. Tolstoy passed away on November 20, 1910, leaving an enduring literary legacy and a profound influence on 19th-century literature and thought. Number 3. Miguel de Cervantes. Miguel de Cervantes Saavedra was a 16th-century Spanish writer and one of the most important figures in world literature. He was born in Alcalá de Henares, Spain, in 1547 and died in Madrid in 1616. Cervantes is best known for his masterpiece, Don Quixote de la Mancha, published in 2 parts in 1605 and 1615. This novel is considered one of the most influential of all time and has been translated into numerous languages. Don Quixote tells the adventures of a crazed knight, Alonso Quijano, who calls himself Don Quixote and decides to become a knight-errant to fight evil. The work is a mixture of satire, comedy, and reflection on reality and imagination, and stands out for its deep analysis of human nature. In addition to Don Quixote, Cervantes wrote numerous plays, poetry, and short novels. Some of his best-known works include Exemplary Novels, a collection of 12 short novels exploring the themes of love, honor, and morality, and La Galatea, his first published novel. Cervantes' life was marked by financial and personal difficulties. He served in the Spanish army and suffered injuries at the Battle of Lepanto in 1571, where he lost the movement of his left hand. He also spent several years in prison due to financial problems. Although Cervantes did not enjoy recognition or financial success during his lifetime, his literary work has transcended time and his legacy lives on to this day. Number 2. Charles Dickens. Charles Dickens was an English writer recognized worldwide for his contribution to the literature of the 19th century. He was born on February 7, 1812 in Portsmouth, England, and grew up in a poor family. His difficult childhood and the experiences he lived through during his youth marked his literary style and his focus on social protest. Dickens is known for his ability to vividly portray life in Victorian England, and his works incisively reflect on the social issues of his day, such as poverty, inequality, and the injustices of the system. His prose was fluid and captivating, and his often unforgettable characters represented a wide range of personalities and social strata. Among his most famous works are Oliver Twist, David Copperfield, Great Expectations, and A Christmas Carol. These novels have endured over time and are considered classics of English literature. Iconic characters of his, such as Ebenezer Scrooge and Miss Havisham, have become literary archetypes and have left a deep mark on popular culture. Dickens was also a fervent defender of children's rights and worked tirelessly to improve the living conditions of the most disadvantaged. His novel, Oliver Twist, in particular had a significant impact on public awareness of the treatment of children in Victorian society. Throughout his career, Dickens published numerous novels, short stories, and newspaper articles, and also held public readings of his works, making him a very popular figure in his time. Number 1. William Shakespeare. William Shakespeare is considered one of the most famous and recognized writers in history. He was born in Stratford-upon-Avon, England, in 1564 and died in 1616. His literary legacy spans a wide range of genres, including poetry, drama, and sonnets, and his works have been translated and performed worldwide. Shakespeare wrote around 37 plays, many of which are considered masterpieces of universal literature. Among his best-known tragedies are Romeo and Juliet, Hamlet, Macbeth, and Othello. These works explore universal themes such as love, power, revenge, and the human condition, and feature complex and memorable characters. In addition to his tragedies, Shakespeare also wrote comedies such as A Midsummer Night's Dream and Much Ado About Nothing, which are noted for their wit, entanglements, and happy endings. His historical works such as Julius Caesar and Richard III are also very popular and present vivid portraits of kings and historical leaders. Shakespeare's influence on literature and theater is incalculable. He introduced new words and expressions to the English language, and his works have been adapted and reinterpreted countless times over the centuries.